What's going on, Optimists? Welcome, everybody. It is Friday, March 3rd, 2023, and sometimes we like to call it Friday. All right, so on this Friday, we're going to get going. Market's kind of ripping today. We actually took a few stock trades off stream. Um, had 2 wins, 2 losses. Not a bad day so far. Let's go ahead and pull up these charts, take a look at the markets, all that fun jazz. Here we go. Boom. All right, so you can see the ES kind of ripping today. We took 2 trades on the ES for net profit, right, or gross profit, sorry, of 187.50 at the moment. So 2 attempts, 2 wins. Had sort of this U-shaped pattern. Kind of had a little bit of a almost like an ABCD, but more like a cup and handle with a really big handle. It's almost like a ladle. It's like the Big Dipper of trading. That's what we got going on up here. We're coming up hitting these highs up here, the upper band of the VWAP, high at 4,022. We're breaking out of that 4,000 range that's been really strong resistance all through the month of February. And now that we're popping into March here, we're actually getting some rips in the marketplace. Now, last year, as well as the year prior, mid-March became this like, we had all these like rips up to about mid-March. And then we just had this like wrecking ball of just like drops and drops and drops all the way to like June. And so hopefully that's not the case this year. I'd like to see just some consistency in the markets. It's okay if it drops because we can short things, but when you do have crazy amounts of volume coming through to the downside, it can be kind of challenging. So right now, we did have this consolidation down here along the volume weighted average price, along the 200 moving average, and we've got the VWAP approaching a crossover of the 200. That'll look good for continued bullish movement on the day. But you can see that we're kind of consolidating up here by these highs of around 4,020. We had a nice pop up here off of 4,010. Consolidated around 4,015 before we got this pop up. And we may get some drops along the way here. And maybe some bounce off the 9 EMA. But this looks pretty decent to just kind of continue scalping for a while here. So I'm going to be focused on scalping today. And we are getting a rip up to 4,023. Popping off that 9 EMA just like we mentioned. I'm going to take a look at some of the longer time frames and see what we got going on here. 3 minutes just on a continuous rip with a lot of stacking on the TCM. So we have that cooling on the 1 minute side, but you can see on the 3 minute that it's still stacking, and it's stacking pretty reasonably well. We're going from 7.1 to 8.2 up to 8.7. So a little bit of leveling off there, but still continuing to move upward. Jumping out to the 5 minute chart. Let's see. 5 minute stacking on the TCM going from 3.3 up to 5.0 up to 5.9. So still a lot of opportunity here on the 5 minute as well. And you can also see too, if I pull this out some to about the early pre-market, was this at it's actually last night at about 10:30. Actually, that was 10:30 in the morning. So this is on a 24-hour. So this was actually yesterday at 10:30. We got this 5,200 cross, and we've pretty much been on a bullish rip since. We did have a very long period of consolidation right here at about the close yesterday, all the way up until about midnight. So for about 12 hours, just consolidated sideways. It's a pullback down below 4,020 with that rejection up there, the upper band of the VWAP. And a lot of sell-off on this 5-minute candle. So I think we'll be looking for an opportunity here off the 9 EMA on the 5-minute side, which is right around 4,015. So see if we can find an entry off of 4015 and maybe take a bounce off that. I'm going to be looking for, I think we'll go for about 5 ticks. It seems pretty reasonable. Try it at 16 though. 16 seems, there we go. We're in at 16, getting a quick bounce up, and we got that trade. Now we're up $375 on the day. That was a very, very fast pop. Took a trade off the 5-minute, which you guys know that I don't normally do, but I did see an opportunity there, so decided to take it. Jumping back to the 1-minute side. Getting a doji down here on the bottom of this rejection. So we may get some pops off that doji. I'm not willing to take it just because of the decline in the TTM. We got 5.8 down to 5.0, down to 4.0. So you can see there's actually a pretty reasonable amount of momentum coming in towards the downside. And so we may actually even see some pullbacks down to the 50 EMA or maybe the 35 EMA. A bounce off 35 would look good, as well as a bounce off 50. The EMAs, that is. Swimming pools and moving averages. For those who know Beverly Hillbillies references. What up, Michael? What up, Tiny? You been flat all day? No rush to trade on Friday. No worries. Do you do what fits right with your strategy is what matters. You know what I mean? Tiny, do you ever wish the coffee emojis would just like come right out of the screen and be yours? So we've had a very solid week of trading. We've added about $7,000 or so to the account, I think, this week. And looking to continue that trend. $4.1 down to 3.1 on the TTM. Another doji down there. This is almost beginning to look like support off 17. It's like very, very minor declines, but you can see a lot of these Mario candles coming in. This almost looks like 3 dojis in a row. This one's not a doji, but practically is. 3.1 down to 2.0 on the TTM. See, I'm not willing to take it just because of the decline in the TTM. My time axis is all messed up. I'm going to adjust this here real fast. There we go. Now it won't keep kicking me to have like hardly any chart on the screen. So we may look for a bounce off the EMA 35. You can see we've got this hammer candle. This one here is looking like it's about to form a hammer. We got 30 seconds on that though. But this does look pretty reasonable for a little bit of an upward move. I'm going to join the bid here and see if we can get an entry off of 16. Popped up a little bit above what I was intending to enter on. So no fill yet. Gonna cancel that and rejoin the bid up here at 16.5. Entered at 16.5. My preference was to get in at 16, which it did just pull back to. Looks like we could have got it if we would have held for a little bit longer. Getting a red candle in the TTM, which does not look good for an upward move, but with all these hammer candles coming in, we may pull back as far as the 35, which is right there on 15. But I think that we may bounce prior to that. 1, 2, doji 1, doji 1, 2, doji. 9 dipping below the 12. I'm gonna cut this trade and just take this profit. Doesn't even look like I have to. It just ended up ripping. Why does this still say I got a market order on? You see that? It's just bouncing around there, saying that I have a market order, but I was like long since out. All right, we're up 675 on the day. Gross, no losses yet for 4 wins. It's looking like a very nice bounce off the 35. Didn't quite come down and tap the 35, but still getting a nice bounce off there. You can see that red candle forming on the TTM there. That may indicate more downward pressure, but that downward pressure, I think, is going to be held up by the EMA 35. You can see that there's still a little bit of ascension right here off of this. So unless this drops below the open of the last candle, I think that we're going to continue to push up. So that would mean that this has to drop down to 16.5, which that candle did not, but this second candle is going from 0.6 to 1.5 on the TTM on the red side. 9 is now below the 12. So with that 9 EMA moving average dipping below the 12, that may give us more confirmation of downward move. But right now we're kind of in a little bit of indecision that you can see here. By the way, if y'all chilling, y'all hanging out, we've been streaming now for about 10 minutes. Make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. Think your swim skills me? Yeah. It's looking like this may push towards a downward cross. You can see that 26 and that 12 are just kind of tapping each other. So it's super close. This could go either way right now, which means I'm not going to take a trade here. It looks very much like there's a lot of indecision. This could rip up, this could rip down, or it could just continue sideways. But this does look like there's an opportunity in either direction right now. So as a result, I'm not going to take this trade at this particular point in time. I'm going to wait for a red to yellow or a crossover of the 9 above the 12. There's a crossover of the 9 above the 12. Right there on the current candle. TTM going from 1.7 to 2.0. So because that's on the current candle, I still don't want to take it. I want to see it like have one full candle to confirm that crossover. But this is looking pretty decent. You can see there's some ascending support happening here. 1.7 to 1.9, some leveling off in the TTM. I'm going to see if we can get an entry off of 17.5. Actually, that's a little low. I'm going to go for 18, actually. No, it's just ripping on past. This is looking far more like a rip than a dip. I'm going to go for like 8 ticks. And we're going to join the bid here. Enter off at 18 would have been very nice. We're in at 1875. I'm looking to get out at 20.75. So I'm going to look for a test of 22. Pulling back some. You see some yellow on the TTM there. Red to yellow on the TTM going from 1.9 to 1.8. So that yellow on the TTM is not very strong yet. 9 is above the 12. The 26 and 12 are touching. So that's not great for our upward move. I'm going to reduce my sell order down to 20. Just in case we end up hitting resistance there at 20. So this red to yellow happened and then didn't play out yet. We also got a double top here at 19 and a quarter. Our entry is at 1875. So right now we're at break even. We're looking to just take 5 ticks on this. There's a triple top there, breaking through it now. This dropped 1 tick below our sell order. There we go, we got it. All right, we're up 862.50 on the day. Pop it up there to 20, 4,020. We got this pretty solid red to yellow here. We'll have to see if this one continues yellow and then a move into cyan on the TTM. That's what we're going to be looking for. Right now, the 9 is above the 12, so that looks good. But you can see that the 26 is continuing to push upward. So we'd actually want to see the 26 move downward so that it looks a little bit more. Let me see if I can find it on the chart for you. So that it looks a little bit more like this. We're going to want the 9 above the 12. And then we're going to want this 26 to continue to kind of push downward and preferably dip below the EMA 35, kind of like how it is here. So right now I can't really trust this, but you can see it's somewhat of a U-shaped breakout pattern. Like there's somewhat of a U-shape going on here, kind of a cup and handle. That 26 is continuing to progress upward. So I still can't trust this for long. Not yet, anyway. 9 still above the 12. A lot of conflicting signals here at the moment. So I just don't feel a ton of confidence in most of these trades. Stuff is changing very quickly, though, and so I'm really just kind of like keeping myself open to see if there's something that is going to push. Like this is pushing right now up to 20 after dropping all the way down to 17. This 12 tick move to the upside. A lot of conflicting information right now. There's the rip up to 21. This is our initial trade idea with this red to yellow move. So that's where we're at. We're just kind of hanging out. By the way, if y'all chilling, hanging out, make sure you hit that like. Make sure you hit that subscribe. You'd actually be kind of surprised how much that actually helps the channel grow. It's pretty substantial. It's like any of the days that we hit like 10 to like 15 likes or something like that, all of a sudden we get like a whole wave of new audience members. It's really interesting actually just to watch the algorithm at work. Got a big rip up followed by a big rip down. This is why I didn't trust it, was really because that 26 kept progressing to the upside. I really actually just want to see this white 26 SMA start trending downward in order to keep going long. But we may start having some short opportunities, maybe around 8 at the top of the hour. Just running waveforms today. Riding in waves. Starting to look almost like a Head and Shoulders. Pulling down the 35. New red candle on the TTM. 5 seconds left in this candle. I'm going to switch out to the longer time frames here in just a moment. Starting to be sideways almost. Check it in on the 3-minute chart. So much sideways action. Checking in on the 5. So we got a 5-minute flag. Off the 9 there. Join the bid at 16 and a quarter. I don't know if I'm gonna regret that or not. I'm gonna try to get out at 17 and a half, and I'm gonna adjust this to be at 4 ticks. 3 seems like too little and 5 seems like too much, so I'm going for 4 for the future. All right, we got that trade. We're up 1050 on the day. Good day so far, no losses. Taking 6 trades. What is that? 1050 divided by 6. Ain't an average of 175 per trade. Not bad. Five-minute chart going from 7.6 to 8.0 on the TTM. Our last candle was 3 minutes ago. Come one, come all, join the fun. $10 for every penny. What is this? The BZ. I gotta check in on that. $10 per penny. Is that a future? Is it this? It says like really low volume, but what is this? I'm just taking a play trade on this. Figure out what this is. I entered. Huh. The BZ, huh? The bee's knees, huh? Fascinating. Won't even let me out. All right, we made 40 bucks on the bee's knees. I never traded that before. Just figured I would just give it a whirl. Just learned about it right now, live on stream. Made 40 bucks on the bee's knees. You're down big red. Come on, Tiny. I know you can do this. I know you got this. I know that you do because I can see your passion for trading. The only one in CL, yeah. All right, let's jump back to the ES. We're up 1050 in the ES. We're up 40 on the bee's knees. 5-minute chart, you can see leveling off in the TTM on the ES here as we approach 755. Coming up on the top of the hour, you can see some leveling off there on the TTM. Right now, on the 1-minute side, we get a possible crossover. You can see an ABCD pattern here. There's the A, here's the B, there's the C. We're riding into the D. Do. Doom. Although this does look a little bit more like a Head and Shoulders to me, but I don't put too much emphasis on chart patterns. Like some, yeah, but mainly I just follow my TTM strategy and scalp moves. TTM's pretty flat right now though, so probably gonna have to do chart pattern trading and moving average trading too. ES kind of going sideways on the day. We're up 1050 plus our 40 bucks on the bee's knees. You can see there's a very clear bounce off of the EMA 50. This is one of my favorite strategies to use. Is just like something like that, where you could enter along the 50 EMA, and a lot of times you can expect a bounce up towards like the 9 or the 12 EMA, or sometimes even the 26 SMA. But this one's really useful. The other one that's really useful is the EMA 35. Now this one didn't actually come down and tap it, but it's the same concept of the move, where it would pull back to the EMA 35 and then bounce off there. We are getting a breakdown below the EMA 50. Moving from 1.3 to 1.6 on the TTM. The moving averages are beginning to become stacked in a downward slope on them. So in order for this to continue going long, we're going to need to see this bounce off the EMA 50 again, like it did here, but actually get above this area here. So get above 18 and then rip above that. So we would need this EMA 50 to continue to hold support. You can see it's bounced off the 200 moving average a couple of times. Down here it did here, and then it did here. The 200 moving average failed to get below the VWAP though. Or rather, I should say the VWAP failed to get above the 200 moving average. You see the 200 has been riding above the VWAP pretty much all day. Actually, it has been going above it all day. Ever since about 3 o'clock in the morning. Pretty consistent channels today too. see there. Kind of right there. All right, just gonna check in with y'all, see how y'all doing. You almost tell a story. What do you mean? Oh, let's see. Just gonna catch up on these commentos. Let's see. Also, you can read the chart with indicators very well. Thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, basically, I think all numbers tell stories. That goes back to being a kid, and being in sales. I got into sales when I was like 15 or 16, and after being in sales for enough time, you start to like kind of see patterns in numbers, and a lot of the times I would see other salespeople's numbers and like what they were doing good on and what they were doing bad on. And I'd be like, oh, this person's not saying these like three things that would boost their numbers on this chart or on that chart. And so trading is very similar to that. Like it's very similar to reading the same sort of patterns in sales numbers. And Gotta crack my back. And trading is very similar to that. Like all the numbers tell stories. You've heard the phrase "numbers don't lie," and it's pretty true. Numbers do tell a lot of stories, and chart patterns are no different. Got an ABCD pattern actually going on here: A, B, C, and then running into the D pattern. TTM now going from, I gotta do this quickly, 1.7 to 1.5 down to 1.4. This actually looks like there's an opportunity here for a bounce. We'll look for an entry off of 17. Oh crap. With the wrong we don't even have our bracket order set up. I'll join the bid here. Okay. This is up at 20 ticks. This is like way higher than I want it to be, but I'm gonna drop this down to 21. So 17 or 18 is our entry. So up to 21, that'd be a 12 tick move. So that would be worth about $450. 21 being right there, which was the resistance point of this section. We're running up into a potential for a cyan switch on the TTM. We're going from 1.7 to 1.5 to 1.1 to 0.9. So the momentum is slow, and it's kind of rejecting a little bit. I think that the move was much smaller, but I didn't have my bracket orders on. We're going to need to see this 9 EMA get above the 12 EMA and continue to stay there for, we got about 15 seconds, so it needs to happen in the next 15 seconds. Otherwise, we got to bail on this trade. Pulling back to the EMA 35. The sideways action is no fun. Tiny, I think your assessment of the potential chop on the day was correct. Because it definitely does kind of feel a little choppy. By the way, guys, if you are not involved in our Discord community, you're going to want to join that Discord community because we do have amazing traders in there, like Tiny, like Long Haul, like Pawn, second best bearded trader, as he calls himself. So you're definitely going to want to join that Discord community because I'm going to exit this trade here and probably just take this loss. but you're going to want to join that community, because Tiny actually even called the choppiness on the day, and you can see that choppiness playing out. And that's not just because it's Friday. There's other like PMI data and other stuff that's contributing to this choppiness on the day. And Tiny does an amazing job of pointing stuff like that out. And so you're definitely going to want to join our Discord community, because we've got awesome traders that are pointing things out like that can help you learn, help you move faster, and help you grow your own account, grow your own trading style, and all those types of things. Much better, much faster, stronger, and all that other fun stuff. There's a link in the description. It's also joelstraight.com/Discord if you just like typing. But there is just a link inside the description. We're back at flat on this trade, so I'm kind of glad I didn't cut it, even though I was about to. We're bouncing off the EMA 35, and you can see it bounced off the EMA 35 both here. This one dipped, but still bounced, and hitting resistance there at 1875. So we're going to need to see this actually pop up over 1875. TTM went from 1.0 to 1.1 to now 1.0. So again, continued sideways action. Possible crossover the 1226. We're going to need to see that happen, but you can see the 26 is beginning to slope downward. What we want to see for continued long movement. We want this 26 going down. We want this 9 going up. We want the 12 going up. We also want this 9 to cross over and stay above the 12 EMA, which looks like it's about to do. It's currently above it now, but it needs to close above the 12 in order for this movement to continue. 20 seconds left in this candle, which is popping back up to 18. Try to see if I can take an additional contract, but I can't. Movement on TTM from 0.9 to 0.5 to 0.3. That does look good, but I do want to see more momentum coming in. And one of the reasons why we're not getting that kind of momentum is the volume. Really, the volume, it's a little low. It's not too bad. It's about 3,000 contracts, so it's actually not bad at all. I've seen it much lower than that. It just looked low from the perspective because you've got this this sort of average volume indicator right here, and it's just staying average. .5 to 0.2 on the TTM. 10 seconds left in this candle. Finally got a cyan switch on low momentum from 0.2 to 0.3, so that's a half a point. Half a point is better than no point. I might reduce this sell order down to like 19. Even though I think we're going to rip up here. Let's take a look at the longer term charts. When in doubt, zoom out. Yeah, I'm going to reduce this down to 19. Based off the longer chart there. Reduce this down to 18.5. Hands over the cover button, ready to kill this. All right, we got that trade. In my opinion, that was not a very good trade. It's great that we took profit, and this may actually rip up. But the reason why I think that was not a very good trade is because we're seeing such sideways action here that even though I can attempt to take advantage of that sideways action, I run the risk of getting hit with a falling knife. And that could really just kill all of my profits on the day. Currently, we're up 1,125, and we've not taken a loss so far, but we did actually drop down to almost $450 on the downside on this current trade. Now, while we were able to get out with profit, that's great and all, but that kind of risk reward is not what we want to be doing. We want our risk reward to be at least 1 to 1, but typically we want 1.5 or 2.0 to 1. So, for example, if I'm going for 450, I don't want to lose more than 225. And so I was going for 450 with that trade. We pulled down to 375. I ended, or actually down to 412.50. I ended up holding on to the trade though, because we bounced off the EMA 50 on the 1 minute chart. That was the only reason why I held that trade. And if we hadn't bounced there, I would have just cut it. And you guys heard me talking about potentially cutting it, and that was the reason why. If I jump out to the 5 minute chart, I can see the continued cooling on the TTM. The 3 minute is also cooling on the TTM as well. This is looking more and more like it's going to eventually begin to push towards the downside. Kind of slow movement though with everything. What up, Irene? Good to see you. What? I don't call anybody Irene. I don't actually do any of that stuff. Like I don't have I do have an email list, but we don't I don't really email that much. Like really not at all. But Irene, there is a subscribe and unsubscribe button. And so you can click, there's a button there, so you can click the unsubscribe if you don't want to get notifications from us. Then why am I here? I don't know. You showed up. Because we don't call anybody at all. We don't use any calling service of any kind. But there is a subscribe and unsubscribe button that you can click. So if you had subscribed in the past, then that would you guys reported what? I got 4 calls today. I'm sorry. Start blocking calls, definitely. Said watch Joel charts. That ain't me. I don't I don't use any car. Watch Joel charts. That ain't even the name of our channel. My name is Joel though. There's something wrong to this. Yeah, definitely. If Irene, if you're getting spam calls, uh, then what you're gonna want to do is any phone number that calls you. If you have an iPhone, you have the ability to just hit block. Um, YouTube Joel charts, they say. Yeah, that ain't me. I don't do any marketing like that. Basically, we have a Discord community and we have YouTube. That's it. We also have an email mailing list, but all of that is opt-in only. So you have to double confirm. Um, so in order to actually be on the email mailing list, you'd have to A, put in your email address, B, go into your email and actually hit confirm. And then C, we also don't even email that often. Yeah, I don't know, Irene. uh, I mean, if you don't want to be here, just hit unsubscribe and you know, you're good. But we don't engage in that kind of spammy marketing at all. I'm very much against that type of marketing. In fact, I ran a marketing agency for a lot of years, and that was one thing that we never ever ever engaged in any capacity. OA group? What's OA? If you don't mind my asking. What is OA? Yeah. I don't know, Irene. We don't engage in any of that type of stuff. So whatever that happens to be, Overeaters Anonymous. No, no, nope. If you want to overeat, go ahead. Overeat, undereat. That's all you. That's all. You know, whatever. I don't engage with any of that type of stuff. So, let's see here. Market's still going sideways. Get some pops off the 9 EMA, but still seeing more decline in the TTM. We're currently up 1125 in the sim today. 6.9 down to 6.4 on the TTM 5. Just jumping back in. I'm very rude. Yeah, probably. Okay, then. All right, Irene. I probably am pretty rude. Mainly that's because I just live my life. I've died like 1,000 times, man. I'm good. With all that type of stuff. Like if I offend somebody, then they're offended. That's has a lot to do with them and their own issues. Um, because that's just kind of how I live my life. I believe that people who are offended are people who choose to be offended. Um, that is my own personal belief. I personally believe that people who are offended are people who choose to be offended. That is 100% controlled by the individual. Our emotions are our own choice in every capacity. That includes our addictions. That includes our personal issues. That includes all of those things. Our emotions are 100% our choice, and that is my opinion. And that is what I believe. And I also believe that when people are offended, it is because they are choosing to be offended. And that is just what I personally believe. That's how I train my child. That's how we work within my own family. Because humans, all humans, I don't believe any human should apologize at all for their existence or for their beliefs or for how they choose to live their own life. I believe that everybody has the opportunity to live their life to their own capacities and to their own belief systems. And that includes our foibles. That includes our things that are strengths, our weaknesses, all those things. And our weaknesses are our choice as well. And for every strength that we have is a weakness, and every weakness that we have is a strength. And that is my own personal belief. And for those of you who know, I came from a family that is filled with addiction and a bunch of that kind of stuff, and I don't give them any quarter as well. I believe addiction is a choice, and it is something that we often run from. So that's my thoughts on all that. I'm gonna reduce this down to 2 ticks. Just look for a little scalp here. Look for a pullback to like 20. See if I can get a bounce off that. If we can get the entry there. Entry's at 20 and a quarter. I'm looking to go to 20.75. I meant to go to 20 as the entry though. Pulling back a little bit more than I want to see. Kind of peaked there right there at 22. Gonna drop down to a single tick. We're gonna get out at 20.5. Got that single tick trade up 1162.50 on the day in the sim. That was weird. Yeah, exactly. My family put the fun in dysfunction. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've seen the worst of humanity. Uh in a lot of ways, a lot of capacities. I've seen some of the absolute worst in humanity. I'm not gonna go into details because I ain't no snitch, but but let's just say I've seen some of the worst that humanity has to offer, and as a result, being able to survive all that, as well as all of my health issues and a brain injury and everything else that I've dealt with in my life, in my own personal opinion, man, like you choose your negativity, you choose your path, and you choose a lot of like your addictions and all those things. Those are your choices. Like we make our choices and then our choices make us. Market pulling back to about 4,019. Just very sideways action on the day. So we're just kind of taking advantage of like little micro scalps now at this point. We can join the bid off 1875 and get off at 19 and a quarter. Got that. We're up 13, or sorry, 1237.50 on the day. By the way, if y'all chilling, y'all hanging out, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. It does really help the channel grow. I have no idea what the heck that was. It was very weird. But if you do find some value in this, I'd appreciate you guys hitting like and subscribe and ring that bell for notice. We are up to 327 subs. So I do want to thank the 7 or so people that joined in this week. Coming up on 8:30, we may get a volume push here at 8:30. $200 is beginning to diverge some from the volume weighted average price, which may indicate that as we get closer to like 8:30 or sorry 9, maybe even 9:30, possibly even like 10:30, we may get a crossover towards the downside and a trend reversal on the day to go a little bit lower. But right now everything's just sideways. Not a lot of movement. We got the 26 crossing above the EMA 35 right there. This may indicate more downward pressure, along with some pretty large wicks up there and a lot of resistance up at 20. 20 acting as really strong resistance so far right here. I'm going to take a look at some of the longer time frames, jump into the 3-minute. So on the 3-minute, you can actually see a lot of cooling off there on the TTM. And so we may actually get a red candle here on the TTM soon. On the TTM 3, that is. Gonna take a look at the 5 and see how that's shaping up. 5 is also putting in some cooling candles. Let's see at what rate. Going from 6.9 to 6.8, so basically flat, down to 6.5 to 6.2. So yes, declining, but very minimal. Not enough to really be concerned about a drop on the 5. The 3-minute is actually the one that intrigues me more, because on the 3-minute side, we've got this 26 that's actually approaching the 12 right there. And we've cooled off so much on the 3-minute over the last few minutes here. Went from 3.4 down to 2.5, down to 2.0, then to 1.3, then to 0.9, and then 0.5 on the current. So unless this flattens out and then rips up, we may actually see a rip down, and that downward rip right now has availability down to about 4,015, maybe 4,014 and a half. That's if we get that. Like I said, unless we see like a rip up, and that rip up would be indicated by a cyan TTM candle like that one. I'd want to see it with a green dot, but that's what we'd want to see in order to have that that flip. And in which case, we may see a run up to 22, or possibly even the test of the highs at 23. But you can see the upper band of the VWAP's actually been running upward for a while. It's moved itself up to 30. Not really any trade opportunities that I'm seeing yet, just because it's been so sideways. We're basically just going up and down between 17.5 and 19. So it's just kind of like two sideways really to take that many trades. There are some opportunities off of the 9 EMA, which you see bounce here, here, and here. I think I want to see it get above 20, though, to really sort of have some confidence in a continued upward move. Okay, so I have to say this. I know nothing about this trial. Okay, I know nothing about this case, but I will say this: the guy's last name is Murda. All right. Now I'm not saying anything. I know nothing about this guy. I know nothing about this case. I know nothing at all about any of this because I don't follow news hardly ever. I want nothing to do with the news. It is a toxic cycle that will continue to create negative loops in our head. However, I will say that the guy's last name is Murda. That sounds like murder. And I think that there's this weird sort of like weird thing that happens with names, right? Like you had Bernie Madoff, right? Robin Williams has that famous stand-up where he's like, what's the name? Not a clue. Because Bernie Madoff made off with all that money. Yeah, and so it's really kind of like interesting where you have a lot of these like last names that almost just like indicate somebody's path in life. It's kind of weird. Um, when you have these like high profile cases of these sort of situations like that, like Bernie Madoff, Madoff with the cash, this Alex Murdaugh guy who possibly might have murdered his family. I don't really know. I only really even found out about this like yesterday. That's how much out of the news I try to stay. So, and that's just because he's from a powerful family. Okay. Sam Bankman-Fried. Yeah, exactly. Bank fraud. Yeah, exactly. My point. Same sort of thing. Like it just sort of like clicks into that same sort of scam bank fraud. That's hilarious. It just sort of clicks into that name. It's just fascinating. And so I find it interesting. Uh there's been a couple other examples, and I'm trying to think of some, but there's been a few in the last like 20 years that have really stood out like that. But it's just kind of funny, just interesting. And yeah, absolutely. People definitely do choose to stay addicted. I've lost friends to addiction. And I don't just mean like them getting addicted and then like they go off with their life. I've had friends like overdose and die due to addiction and other things of that capacity. Um, and it's something where it's like I understand that that type of stuff can grab a hold of you and those demons can take you. But you have the capability too to just be like, nah, I don't want that anymore. And then as the cravings come in and as the temptation comes in, you have the capability to just be like, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm happy and grateful and safe to be here and be myself. The most challenging aspect when it comes to addiction or toxicity is the people around you. And so, if that's the case, even if they're relatives, even if it's a mother or father or brother or sister, or whatever the case is, you have to do whatever you can to get them out of your life so that you can go and be yourself and live in your own little bubble, in your own little world, so that you can make a reality for yourself that matters to you. More or less choose who you want to be and then go live it. And that's a very simplified version of how life is and how life goes. And it's, I say very simplified because while the path that you chose or the person who you want to be, not what, but who, um, the identity that you create for yourself, not the one that you find, but the one that you create for yourself, is not necessarily going to be easy. That doesn't mean it's impossible. And like, frankly, if you're telling yourself that it isn't possible or it just can't be done or whatever the case may be, that's because you are your own toxic person. You are abusing yourself at that point. Um, and if you just don't want to be abused, stop abusing yourself. It's that simple. It may not be easy, but it is simple. Changing bad habits is hard to do. Uh, when you're staying in, is harder than. Sorry, brain injury getting me. Changing bad habits is harder than staying in them, even when in pain. The human brain is a trip. The human brain is freaking awesome, man. I love the human brain. The human brain is so freaking cool because the human brain can do anything you tell it to. Like you are literally just a piece of software inside your head and you can just like totally reprogram your brain to do whatever the heck you want it to be. Making new highs up here at 23 and a quarter and ripping down on the high. I think that's the human brain is so freaking cool because of that. Because you have the absolute capability of just programming your mind to be anything you want it to be. If you want to be a trader, you can program your mind to be a trader. If you want to be a self-help guru, you can program your mind to be that. If you want to be grateful and have faith, you can program your mind to be that. You can program your mind to be whatever you want it to be. The key is knowing that you are programming yourself. The key is knowing that what content you are bringing in and how that's affecting your brain. The key is knowing what foods you're eating and how that's affecting your physiology. The key is understanding the world around you, having that self-awareness. That is a big key to actually moving into whatever direction you want life to go. I choose to be a trader, a happy, optimistic trader. Hell yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I find it all really fascinating. Like, honestly, like I spent a lot of years, like I said, I spent a lot of years helping entrepreneurs develop their own six-figure businesses. I spent probably close to a decade doing that, and I've told the story here before, but inevitably, every single time that an entrepreneur was stuck in their business, it always came down to some sense of fear or some sense of uncertainty that they couldn't do this thing or they felt like challenged by this thing every single time. And it was just so interesting because it was just like, it always just came down to like getting them to be able to believe it. Once you believe it, you can achieve it. And that really is like, honestly, one of the most fascinating things about humans is that, like, when we create our belief systems are our coding systems. They're the software that runs in our brain. If we believe something to be true, whether that's interior, like typically about believing something about ourselves, if we believe it to be true, we often create this self-fulfilling prophecy of whatever that is. Now, you just have to make sure your prophecies are good prophecies, i.e., put your beliefs in the right place, and the rest will follow. It's really interesting. Just got a little 2 ticker there. Up 13, 12.50 on the day. I'm going for that 1,500. I really want to hit that daily. Nice little rip there, making a new high. A lot of choppiness on the day, as Tiny predicted in our Discord community. But definitely a lot of opportunity still. I'm a little worried about a rip down, but just because you can see we got this big rip here. This ripped all the way to down to the 35. And our new highs that we are getting are just like 1 tick at a time. We got a really strong resistance up there at 23. She on team time. All right, we're getting a rip down here. Rejecting off of 23, ripping down $5, so 20 ticks off of 23. That would have been a really nice short there. Honestly, if I really think about it, I'm a little upset that I didn't think to short off that, considering that this one hit a new high and ripped down, and this other one passed here hit a new high and rip down as well. So I'm actually there's like a pattern in this today. So this is like the third time that this has happened. And so being as that's the case, I'm a little upset that I didn't actually short off there. Huh. I'll have to consider that for the future. The optimistic future, that is. Let's see. We're getting 9 dipping below the 12. We have a possible crossover that you can see right here. The 26 crossing above the 12 EMA. And potentially the 9 as well. Well, yeah, I mean, it would cross both. If that happens, then we do have higher likelihood of continued downward move. This is kind of starting to feel like this is getting a little top heavy up here. So sideways today. Wonder if this will end up like this one over here, where we bounced, but not after all this choppiness. This is very choppy. I almost feel like if I go for the 1500, that I may end up actually losing. We haven't taken any losses on the day today. We've taken 10 trades. And so I'm a little sketchy about kind of going for it. Pulling back to the 35. May get a nice bounce here, but I don't know. I'm having a really difficult time determining momentum on the day at this point. Range rebound. I never seen you here before, but welcome. Glad to have you. Hardest thing to do is forget about your P&L in the next trade. Interesting. That's a fascinating concept. Forget about your P&L for the next trade. That is kind of interesting. All right, we are getting a rip down. My curiosity is if we actually end up ripping down to 4,015, which is right around this section here. Let's see if we get a red on the TTM. We're getting red now on the TTM, but if the 50 acts as support, then we may just have another pop up. We've had 3 tests of 4,023, each one of them rejected. So this is looking like more inclined for downward momentum. It could be wrong though, but the 9 is dipping below the 12. We got the 26 crossover on the downside. So right now it's just, is the 35, is the 50 going to act as support? If it does, there you go. We have continued support and continued upward move. If it doesn't, then we may actually get this drop down that kind of seems like it's time for, just because it's had such a challenge breaking up above 4,023. Not to mention that the 200 moving average has been consistently moving away from the VWAP toward the upside, or I should say toward the downside, but it's been consistently pushing upward. Well, the VWAP has moved upward as well, but not at the same pace. And the 50 and 200 are approaching closer and closer. So as the 50, or I should say as the 200 gets closer to this 50 EMA here, that's more indication of downward pressure and an eventual downward move. It's actually kind of surprising how much volume we have for how little movement we have. We're up 13, 12.50 on the day off of 10 trades. We're not taking that many trades like back to back like we normally do, and this really just has a lot to do with this sideways action. Lost your connection. I'm glad to have you back. By the way, if y'all chilling, y'all hanging out, make sure you like and subscribe and ring that bell for notifications. And also, too, if you'd like to join our Discord community, we do have an amazing Discord community that is very helpful, designed to help other futures traders as well as stock traders or entrepreneurs develop their business, their life, their philosophies, whatever it is that you are looking to develop. We got you. And if you're trying to actually, overcome anything in your life, this is the place to be. It's a place that's going to help you, encourage you, and help you grow. Remember though that we are a place that we won't necessarily give into your excuses. So that's who we are here. Popping up off that EMA 35 there up to 4,022, tapping 23 again and rejecting. However, we do have red to yellow on the TTM, moving from 0.7 to 0.5 on the TTM. Gonna look for just a little two ticker off 2150 for a move up 22. Pulling down some. I've only been going for like two ticks today just because of the very sideways movement. Obviously, there's definitely moves. If you want to hold it for multiple minutes, we got a doji on that one. Still looking for that move up 22 at a hammer candle here. I don't like that this is a downward doji. Still got that trade though, up 1387.50 on the day in the sim. Kind of excited to get back to the evaluation and earn that funding. Might look for a bounce move off of 20.5, which is where the 9 EMA is. I don't know if we'll pop down that low. No, I think we did for like a brief second. I don't like it as much anymore. Got this little cup and handle on this little micro side here. Popping up to 22. TTM going from 0.6 to 0.4 to 0.3. 9 is about 12. We got that crossover again. Pretty bullish action on the day, man. ES is up about 1% on the day. 2175, now 22 again. I can see another test of 23. Might go for like 4 ticks and join the bid here. Entered off of 20.75 and I'm looking to get out 21.75. So I'm looking for 4 ticks on this. Ended with a doji on that last one. Currently flat on this trade. Look for that test of 22 again. 0.3 to 0.1 on the TTM. Nine and 12 moving in the right direction towards the upside. There we go. We got that. We're up 1537.50 on the day now. So we did break 1500. That's what I was trying to do on the day. Trying to just do that daily, really. I like the number 1500. It just feels right. Uh-oh. Piano player's out. Music stop. Boy had key. And he got dropped. All right. Spy on fill gap. So NMO have to give upside bias benefit of the doubt. Yep. Yeah, I could actually see, like, I don't know. I honestly feel like there's a drop inbound. Like, it's not here yet, but I do feel like there is a drop on the way. It's just not, just doesn't seem to be here yet. You know what I mean? Like, we've had a ton of resistance up here at 23, and I don't know that I have exactly upside bias on the day. But I mean, I keep going long. Typically, I tend to go long. I do short sometimes, but not very often. Mainly, I'm going long. But this 200 moving average is approaching this 50. So at some point, likely in the next hour or so, I do believe that we will have a drop. And I think that drop will put us back down towards the VWAP. Down here like 4,006. Coming up, testing the highs there at 23. For the fourth time. Should we go short off 23? I mean, it's like rejected it so many times. 2350 is the high of these here. So we got this like double top going on. It's looking a little bit better than the previous tests of 23. There's 2375, now 24. I'm saying that this is looking better is essentially because we had so much consolidation along here. This is looking a lot stronger. Let's take a look at where the upper band is. Upper band's up there at 32 now. Popping up to 25. You gotta watch out for like a big rejection up here, because it's, if you notice, like the way that our highs have been happening is we've been pretty much getting the highs and then seeing these big rejections. But this one seems less like it's gonna do that. I'm gonna check this on the longer term charts. We've taken 13 trades today, and so far so good. Actually, we've taken 12. Sorry. Math. All right, so TTM on the 3 looking like 1.8, or sorry, 1.4 to 1.6. I'm gonna call that 1.7 to 2.2 on the current candle. Next 3-minute candle is gonna be at 54, which is in about 30 seconds. So in about 30 seconds, we should have a little bit more confirmed momentum. Although this looks pretty confirmed to me. Pulling down to about 2450, but I'm gonna see if I can get an enter off of 2450. Just putting that at 2 ticks. We got that trade up 16.12.50 on the day. This one is so we went from 2.2 to 2.7. This is actually looking pretty strong. You can see in the earlier here we went from 1.5 to 2.5. Then we went to 4.0 and we got this big rip up. So we're kind of doing the same thing here. Where we went from 1.7 to 2.2 to now 2.9. So movement of 0.7 on the TTM3. So this definitely has the potential to bounce from 25 up towards 30. May look for a pullback to like 23.50. Gonna check in on the 5-minute chart here. See what's going on with that. 5 minutes kind of sideways on the TTM. Going from 6.6 to 5.7 to 5.7, so this flat to 5.5. Sorry, brain injury thing. 4,026, the new high of the day. And it's looking pretty good for upward push. May look for some more scalp moves here. Little mini flag there. Let's pull back to 24.50 really. 1 minute side going from 1.9 to 2.3 to 2.8 to 3.3. So movement a half a point. Nah, I don't. Dang it. I didn't really want to enter there. Alright. We got out with a little bit of profit. I didn't really want to enter there. I wanted to enter just slightly lower than that. And I was worried that it was essentially just going to drop down on me. But we did pull in like 75 bucks on that. So not bad. All right, Tiny. Hope you have an amazing day. I'm actually probably going to shut it down here. We're coming up on 9 o'clock. Before I go, if you guys are looking to earn funding in the futures market using some of the strategies that I'm using, you guys can check out Elite Trader Funding. Elite Trader Funding is awesome. My personal opinion, these guys are the best in the biz. We actually haven't even talked about these guys today, but let me tell you guys that this is one of the only prop firms that has a Discord community. This is the only one I've seen with the Discord community. They have a wide variety of plans available, from the one steps to the end of the day drawdowns like the traditional prop firms, to the fast tracks evaluations, to the static evaluations, to diamond hands, which is its own plan style that allows you to hold positions overnight and weekends. Nobody else is doing that. Me personally, I'm working on the one-step evaluation. I'm working on the 50K here. And then on the static side, I'm working on the 100K static evaluation. And personally, I'm using the strategies that I'm using that you saw me trading today to attempt to actually earn funding in the futures market. You know, if you guys want to check these out, there is a link in the description and the promo code JSBEST, so you can actually lock in a lifetime discount on these guys here. Just make sure that you click see more details, which is a link underneath every single rate plan style, so that you can actually understand what is involved, what are the rules in order to actually earn funding in the futures market using Elite Trader Funding. In my personal opinion, these guys are the best in the biz. They're one of the few that offer you the ability to choose your software from a variety of softwares. Most other prop firms just say you have to use this one software and that's that. So these guys allow you to choose multiple softwares. They do have a Discord community with a lot of helpful information. They provide support and feedback there, so you can get really fast support that's not an AI. It's actually a person helping you. And you can earn funding as low as 10K and as high as $300,000. So make sure you guys check these out. Link in the description. Promo code is JSBEST. And yeah, guys, haven't said all that. I'm going to jump into the chart one last time, take a look and see where the chart is flowing. It looks like we are pushing up towards the high of right now we're at 29.75 on the high, and upper band of the view app is up here at 33. So we do kind of have room up there to 33. Big pushes on the day. End of the day up 1687.50 out of 42 contracts. So let's go ahead and do our math, figure out what our fees were. So we paid about $183.12 in fees, and let's take out our profits on the day. So $1504.38 is our net profit on the day. I'm gonna walk away here I kind of want to be pulling in about 1,500 a day. That's my intention with this. So I'm going to keep on that intention. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and jump into our Discord community. I'm going to write out my reflection on the day, what I feel like I did right, what I feel like I did wrong on the day. I actually think I did pretty good trading on the day. I had one or two trades that I didn't really like. We did make profit, but I didn't like those trades. We actually took 0 losses on the day, so I'm really happy about that. But I'm going to jump into our Discord community. I'd love to see you guys there. And I'm going to write up my reflection right now. Thank you guys so much for being here. I love and appreciate each and every one of you. And please make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. And we'll see you guys here on Monday at 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. And we usually stream for about an hour and a half to 2 hours or so. But we'll see you guys there. And peace. Have an amazing weekend. Hope you come back rested and rejuvenated. We'll see you guys Monday. Much love and appreciation, y'all.